Just an audio check to make sure everything is working. Cool. Alrighty. Let's put some music in the background for myself. So, um, working on the portfolio again. Bring in the list. That. So last video, working on the contact page. Made the contact page itself instead of having all the code in the contact page component. I separated the code a little bit and actually took it out the contact form, put it in its own component, so then that way we can reuse it throughout the site, most likely on the service page or something like that, services page. So that was done. Fixed a few bugs yesterday off camera. There was just a couple. So I was struggling with, I wasn't struggling, but I couldn't figure out why. Yeah, let's just start up the app. npm start. So I was struggling with the padding on the fields. Yes. Was struggling on the padding on the fields of the contact form. Ended up figuring out what the situation was there. So here, padding's nice and even now. So basically, the problem with that was I misspelt. I misspelt the margin. So I fixed that. That fixed all the rest of that up. I was having trouble with the form. HTML tags was messing up my just where the layout of everything, it was all over the place. So basically, the issue there is I was putting the HTML form tag inside the grid container. So that was here, and that was messing everything up. So I took the form tag one level up higher, and that fixed all the issues with the layout. So it's all nice and crispy, which is great. There was that. I also was getting confused with where is it? Let's see if we can find it. Here. So in the last video, or the first video, I was like, I don't understand the syntax, how we're going, double parentheses, like what's the situation there. I did a little bit of research and realized that basically what's happening is we're passing in an anonymous function here, so we're not actually declaring, giving, const function and all the rest of it here. We're just passing in theme as an argument, and then for that anonymous arrow function. So figured that out. Also, in the first video, I made a comment about I didn't understand why there was angle brackets for some stuff and no angle brackets for other stuff when importing. So I figured out, I did some research about a little bit of research on the history of modules in JavaScript, and yeah. So basically, from what I can understand, or from what I read, and I'll probably have to go through it again to just double go over everything. But basically, what happens is when creating a module, so for example, let's just say this component here, we've got everything here. We declare arrow function here, contact form, and then we're exporting that function here as export default contact form. So we're only exporting one function. So when we only export one function, we can just call or name the module just by its name. So just contact form without the the curly braces. But when you have a module that has multiple functions or methods, and you export multiple, you need to declare which actual function you want to access. So, for example, make styles. So there's obviously multiple functions in. I'm not sure it's functions or components or whatever. Functions in the styles module. So we need to specify exactly which one because they're exporting multiple functions. So yeah, I figured that one out. And what else? Yeah, we basically brought in, we separated the very last video. We separated, identified that, it's React reusable components. We shouldn't have everything in the one file. For example, like the contact component is like the entire contact page itself. And, if we wanted to reuse this form here, we wouldn't be able to because it was the entire damn page. So I separated that out and made it into its own component, which is a contact form. This is, very straightforward. Like right now, we probably wouldn't be able to reuse it for any other purpose other than like a specific contact form. Because we're not passing in any props, which would then, change what the component actually does. For example, instead of having a contact page, we might have like the sign up, the sign up or login or whatever. But anyway, for right now, contact, that's all we really need it for, and that's what we'll use it for. And if need be, if we needed that functionality, we can just create the sign up and sign in page, whatever one, as its own component as well, and export that and reuse it. So that's that. So on my list, wherever that went, yeah. So on my list, the to-do list for today is to create an about section for the portfolio site, and also attempt to add Google Analytics tracking to the site as well. I have done a little bit of research on that, and we've got here a Medium post by Mohammed here, which goes over it. Looks like it's pretty straightforward. Basically importing a module called React.js, with then adding the tracking ID or creating its own component, giving it its tracking ID, and then we can add events to it and all the rest of it. We then add that in to our app.js or our index.js, but then we need to handle route changes because it's a client-side rendered. So we take advantage of, I believe it's the history hook from React Router DOM, and then pass that into this arrow function here, and then that will pass what page it's on, and if the page changes and all the rest of it. I'm not 100%, I'm not familiar with the history hook and all the rest of it, so I'll have to do a little bit of research to fully understand what's going on here, but I get the general gist of it, but I'll do that in my own time. So found some bugs while playing around with the app. So whenever navigating to different pages, this is more noticeable on the mobile size, but if we scroll all the way down here and then we go to a different page, I don't think this is going to work on this view, so we'll just shrink it down. So if we scroll all the way down to the bottom of the page and we go to a different page, you can see that it doesn't actually take you to the top of the page. I did have a look at that, and it seems like a simple fix, but I'll need to do a little bit more research on that to get a very clear understanding of how to implement that fix, but it seems pretty straightforward. Another bug is the autofocus on the contact page. So these individual, or this first name has a prop that's passed in as autofocus, which as you can see there, like where you click on it, it focuses in on the spelling mistake there as well. Fix that. But the autofocus is when you click on it. So it's actually meant to autofocus when you actually go to the page. It will autofocus if we go to the page via, say, like this button or any other navigational button on the page, like so. You can see it focus straight on. But if we go to the drawer here and then click contact, it doesn't actually focus. So that's another bug. From the reading that I did, it's a simple fix, but again, same thing. I'll just do a bit more research on my own time, and that way I fully understand how to implement that fix. So yeah, so let's get started with the about section. So I've written a bit of a history of how I got started and all the bits and pieces. There's a couple of laughs in there, but it's the honest truth and how I got started. So yeah, that's that. So yeah, let's get into it. So first things first, we'll do the about section because it's going to be pretty straightforward, and then work on the Google Analytics side of things. Just going to close a couple of these pages, so we don't really need all this open. And we're going to head over to our static pages. We're going to create a new file called about.js. We need to capitalize that. Cool. And we already pushed the code and all the rest of it using Git before, so that's all sorted. But just before we do that, I just want to quickly change that first name error before I forget, because I will forget. Turned last name, email, message, message. Cool. I'll get someone to have a look over this entire website, because there was one on the contact as well. It was like I just had with instead of within, but anyway. So yeah, so about. Let's get that page up. Created components. First thing, we'll import React. React from React. So that's cool. We also want to bring in typography from Material UI. Oh, damn it. UI photography. Cool. Alright, so we'll start off. We'll add the make styles as well in a second, but we'll just build our actual the meat of our component. So we want to add a arrow function const about, and that will take in 0 arguments or close that off. We then want to return cool, and then export default about to export default. Cool. Yeah. things because I haven't put anything in here yet. All right, so let's just return something very simple. Make sure we're all set here. We're going to do a, what is it? I think it's variant or component. I think it's variant. Page 1. Hoi. Save that. Reload the page. And we haven't got anything. Turn const about. Turn that. Turn hoi. Something going on here. Oh, no. Yeah, it would help if we actually brought this into our index. So import, what do we got? Imports about from components, static pages, and about. Close that off. So basically we've got our switch for our router. So we just want routes. The path is equal to about, and we want to use that exact URL, and the component we want to connect that to is about. And close that off. And I've missed something. Unexpected token. That'll help. I have no idea why it's not working. Unexpected token. There's nothing there. Let's split this screen. That would help. No. So there's a couple of mistakes there, but that's cool. All right, we got our hoi. So what do we want to do? We want to have a look at, see how we want to actually lay this page out. So I'm thinking to do it similar to the contact. So just basically heading, maybe just just a little bit of a paragraph, or just go straight into the content. I think center would be fine. Probably not centered for the entire all of the text. Maybe center about here, and then have the text aligned to the left, a bit of padding on the left hand side, right hand side, and break it up. Maybe add some images at a later date, but I think just the text will do for now. So we've got our heading. Let's make our heading about. And to keep everything congruent, I just want to open up contact. And what do we do? H3. Not really meant to use, you're meant to like specify what the page is about in the H1. Really helps for SEO. And that's way too big. So let's get the size of this. So I want it to all be the same size, and obviously we'd be able to use the theme object to be able to have all this, the sizing and all the rest of it in Material UI. But wait. H3 is 20 to 24 pixels. Awesome. All right. So let's go to about. And we're going to give this a class name to set the class name for the CSS. We'll do classes dot about heading, hero heading. Hero heading, to use this, we need to import make styles. From Material UI core, and then I think it styles. Yep. Cool. Close that off. Awesome. Then we want to create a variable called use styles, and that is equal to a an arrow function that takes in, let's see if I can remember this, const use styles, and this will take in theme. And then we have, I forget the rest. Come on. While I sit on that, we'll do a const classes. Const classes equals use styles. I believe that's that. Come on, what does it take? Obviously, it has something to do with make styles. I forget. Oh, so it's make styles, and so it's make styles, and that takes in the anonymous function, and we need to, that closes off there, close that off. That takes in that, and then we add our styles in here. So hero heading, and we'll return back to this in a second. And that's not, const use styles equals make styles, takes in the theme. And I'm not sure, I need to look at that syntax as well, because I'm not sure why that parenthesis is there, this one here. Because I understand that because it's make styles, it's function make styles, which is taking in the argument of an arrow function. But why is that there? It should be it should be the curly brackets. Anyway, I'll look at that in my own time. So we need to close, I think it's going to close that one off. Close that one off. Not close them off, so just close that one off. Cool, there we go. And our const classes equals use style, and we need to call that function. Cool. So we've got that. Now what was our, let's have a look, it was 20 to 24. Why does that vary? It should be a fixed number. So we want our font size, and we want that to be 20 pixels. How does that look? It's definitely not 20 pixels, that's for sure. About, might be the font weight that's giving it away a little bit. About contact. Might just make, it'd be easier if I just made it a H3, so it was a little congruent, but anyway. Font size 3. Oh, so it's dynamic. That's weird. We need to turn that into a string. Go away. About. There we go. Cool. And we want to align this to the center. Cool. Beautiful. Give this a little bit of padding. So padding top. And I'm going to make that theme dot spacing and give that a value of, let's just say 15 to have a look at that to start with. Make sure you close that. Cool. And let's just have a look at our contact and check how much padding we had here. And it was 160 pixels, which I'm going to have a look at the other one because it's those figures, the spacing numbers are predefined. So what do we say? It's 160. So, I could just have a look at here, that'd be easier. 20. Cool. About. So that's that bit. I do want to, that's another thing. I need to write a list of everything that I need to research. Because I keep forgetting what I need to video dimension. I'm just going to quickly drop this bit rate because it looks like it's getting choppy on YouTube. Output, let's just make it 10,000. apply. Just waiting for this to normalize. Drop it down a little bit further to 8,000. That's no good. Looks like we're getting a bit of a hit here with our internet. Drop it down to 7,000. Drop it down to 6,000. Gonna have to change this. Yeah. Hopefully this is gonna look like crap, probably being 1440p, but I'll leave it feel like that for right now, just while we get through this. Yeah, I need to basically have a look to see what, to write down all of the stuff that I need to look at. So research. What do I want to research? When should you use material UI containers and grid containers? Cool. So that's that. All right, so when to use that? I'm going to use them here anyway. So we're just going to, we need to import it first. So we're going to use import grids from material UI grid. Close that off. And let's do it. So we bring in a grid container. Hold on. Yeah, grid container. And we want spacing to equal, no, that's not correct. Spacing to equal 2. And then we'll close that container off. Bring that down here, like so. Then just indent that. We've got a heading, that's cool. We just need to make this a grid item. And the reason why I do this is because it gives me the ability to, like, you could still do it with media queries, but grid item allows me to resize everything within that item, depending on what size the screen is, by just passing in some props. So for example, grid item, and then we can say for extra small screens, make it so that, because each container, grid container, has 12 columns. So we allow, we can make use of those 12 columns by assigning how many columns we want each individual grid item to take up. So if one grid item is, takes up 12 columns, it'll put the next item on the next row underneath it. If it took up only 6 items and the other one took up 6 items, like the one below it, then they would just be both on the same line. So we want this to take up the full width. And let's bring this underneath here. And I just want to indent this again. Make it look pretty. Cool. So then I think we've got our class, it's fine. We'll handle our padding from underneath. So yeah, our next one is our actual text. So we'll just add another grid item, and XS equals extra small screen equals 12. And once I finish this, I'll go back through and I'll actually make sure it's responsive. It should be fine with this because there's not multiple like cards or anything like that together. It's just like a paragraph of text. We might have to maybe mess around with the breakpoints like I did in the footer. Oh no, not the footer, the home page. So like do a media query. If the screen size gets the extra small, then add a breakpoint at these specific points. Will not add a breakpoint, show the breakpoints there instead of hiding it. So we've got our item. We need to bring in typography again, or wrap this text into typography. I think there might be a better way to do this instead of just posting all of that. Yeah, there is. Let's not do this because this is going to be a mess. Let's make a new component. Should be like static page content. Anyway, so the static pages add, and let's create about content. Because that having all that text is just going to make this a mess. .js, and there's probably a better way to do this, but this is how I know how to do it. So we're going to import React from React, and then we're just going to bring, we also want to import typography from material UI core typography. Cool, close that off. Const about content. Yeah, contents. Cool. And we're going to return the text within a typography. If you help, if I can spell again. And we'll have a variant. Variant is equal to, I think there's different sizes. I think it's body 2, I think. We'll find out in a second. And then expected. That's correct, isn't it? So that's correct. Identifier expected. Variant is definitely one. Maybe it's because I'm smart. really have to get in the swing of things. Variant, that's why we're here, we're learning. Typography, typography variants, 42. 42. Let's close that off. Let's bring in our text, which is in a doc. Cool. Put that in there like so. Then we still want to utilize our grids. So because we've already got a container, I believe we should just be able to add the grid item. I'm not 100% sure though, but we'll find out in a second. So import grid from at material core grid. Close that off. We'll wrap this in that grid item, and we want to make that XS extra small equal a 12. I'm going to close that off. We're going to bring the closing tag beneath this typography tag. We're then going to tap that over. And then we are going to do another grid item. Grid item. Same thing, extra small equals 12. And this time I'm actually going to just copy and paste this. I think it's whinging at me because there's no parent. Yeah, parent element, so we need to give it a div. Div. Copy that. Paste that in. So this one we want to do our heading. So we'll do a subheading. So we'll do typography again in a variant, and we want to make that equal to we want to make that equal to a H3, which might be a bit weird because the other one's that same size. So maybe we'll make it a H4. Have a look anyway. Cool. And then we'll bring in our heading. We're probably going to have to give these ones some classes as well. Just a bit of styling, but we might be able to do that just from the typography API. Okay. How about we just type in? So, and then we want another one. Typography variance is equal to body 2 again. Close that off. Get our content. Paste that in. Boom. Business. Not sure how this is all going to look, but just for a second, what have we got about content? Just actually bring this in. Import about content from slash content, close that off, and then bring that don't need this anymore because it's already within a div and it's already got its own. So about content, a self-closing tag, and there is our contents, which looks terrible. What's it going over the side of the page there? Might be because it's not in a container. No, it's because it's outside of the container. Maybe it doesn't bring it in through here. Let's have a look. Or is it just, no, that can't be it. Grid container spacing equal to 2. Is that within the div? Yep, it's in the div. Probably get that div then. Did that. Not still doing it. Let's have a look, see what we can see. Maybe we need to bring, instead of having the grid container here, perhaps maybe we did need to actually add it to a its own grid item here. Definitely did bring it over a little bit, but it's not exact. Like maybe it's because it's taking it straight to the container and we're not giving it any margin. Sounds a bit like what's going on. Because if we did like I think we can do this with the grid item. If we did yeah, so it brings it over. Oh, hold on. I did that for that, not this one. Why are they different? It doesn't do that weird formatting thing, does it, when you like copy and paste it in? Variants, body 2. We haven't got any styling yet. Or is it just because this? That's gonna be stumped. One round. Why are they different sizes? Still in the same p tag. They're exactly the same thing. I think it has to do with the way that it was formatted when it was pasted in. Just did a lot of stuff. Let's just keep the grid for now the way it is. Div, screw the container off. Didn't change much. Let's get all these tags. Copy that, cut it. Actually, come back over here. Copy this, copy. There's that. And I can't do the paste without formatting. Let me bring it over here. It's still a different size. Oh my god. Or is it because of this? Body 1, body 2. Why doesn't it do body 2, body 2? Why doesn't it change that? Anyway, let's just do body 1. I'll have to look at that. Where's my list of stuff that I have to look up? Find out why body 2 have my body 2 I don't have the same font size. Anyway, so cool, that's that. I want to change the item so we only have 8 to bring that in a little bit like so. We actually might do 10 instead. How's that look on mobile? It's not too bad. Cool. H4. And obviously going to have to bring in some styling with this. Let's do that. So let's import make styles from add material cool styles. Close that off. We then need to make use styles. Use styles, which then takes in theme, which then is an arrow function. That takes in the use styles theme. Then we have make styles, which is a function, which then takes in, does that take in theme? I know it's something like make styles, which takes in its own. It's something like that. So getting this part confused. Make styles, which is a function, which then takes in theme. Which is then an arrow function, which then takes in double one of that, I think it was. Nope. Make styles theme. Let's bring that over. Arrow function. Get rid of that. That's right, I was getting confused why that one had that. Cool. And then this is where our stuff will go. And up here, we need to make classes equal use style, and that's the function use styles. We want to invoke use styles. Expected. Yeah, you did expect that. Cool. So we got our classes there. Brought that in. I will get this at some point. The syntax for it. So we want to give. Let's give. What are we trying to do? Import error material styles does not contain default export. Right. Slowly getting there. Next styles. what do we want to do? Want to add some padding. Yeah. So I need to give some padding to this heading. So let's give the entire item a class name, and let's set that equal to classes dot heading well, h2, yeah, heading 2. Let's come back up here. Now let's do heading 2 and padding top, and set that to theme dot spacing, and give that a value of 8. It's not too bad. A little bit more. Cool. So we got we need to have the same thing for this body here. So we'll do class name equals classes dot what am I going to do? Paragraph. And let's close that off. Add a new one. Paragraph, and let's give that some padding. Padding top, and let's set that to theme dot spacing and a value of 10 as well. Inside. So that would help if I did that properly. It's not too bad. Need to work on the text a little bit bigger. Topography. Yeah. So we actually need to set the component equal to h2 for this stuff as well. And the variant is the size. So this one, component, and set that equal to h2. And we need to do the same thing for this one. Equals h1. Cool. So what was I trying to do with this? Make the text size a little bit bigger. Go back to this one and let's we the paragraph. So let's make text size. And the other one was using the rem. So let's give that a crack. Because it's not text size, it's font size. It's just not working now. On. Basically, I was trying to add font size to a grid item. Oops. This one's just paragraph. There we go. Let's try one. Might be a little bit too big, but we can do increments. I don't know if you know that value can be a float. It's not too bad. I don't mind that. Cool. So let's give this bad boy. Do we need to set the component to paragraph for these ones? I think we should. I think they already are coming up as paragraphs anyway. Might be like the default. Yeah, it's in a paragraph tag, so it's already by default it's paragraph. Cool. So so we've got that. So we want to give this the same class, so class name. And the reason why I continuously keep typing this out is so I can remember the syntax. I've pretty got this one down, but it's when I do the when I'm actually setting it all up is when I have a bit of trouble because they're a little bit more. So cool. Given that the paragraph, we also need to give this grid item. No, grid item classes. Class name equals classes dot paragraph item. Like so. And why are we not paragraph item? So we didn't add the padding there, we added it there. So that looks like garbage, but we can break it up. All right, so tap this over format this. Like so. There's probably really no need to do that. I can just add the break statements or the new line statements in. That's a good question. Should you use break or backslash new line? BR's actually break line, whereas it's a character in the source code. In other words, BR will make a new line. Cool. So you can tell I've been doing a lot of terminal coding. So my coding journey started back in 2016 when I took the plunge and started my own business in the gardening industry. While operating, growing that business, problems would present themselves, which I could then use code to solve. That makes sense. Solve the problem. So let's add a break statement there. And let's make that self-closing. Do we need to add two? So one of the problems was presented before one of the problems was presenting before and after photos in a professional manner to clients in the gardening business. I would need to manually download 40 plus photos one by one from a CRM I was using. This process would require opening 2 tabs per photo. I would then need to resize each photo as each photo was 6 to 10 megabytes each, and Gmail would only let you send 25 megabytes per email. Just copy these break statements. Cool. Awesome. I think we might be able to get away with just doing each line. I think I'm right. Nope. We're gonna have to write a script to be able to do this manually, to do this automatically. So doing this manually, this is no good. Cool. So let's make this one how I started. Let's make that capital. And I think we need to align this text to the left because the center looks like garbage. Well, I think it looks like garbage. Might not, but let's have a look at this one. So it's align left. And that is via photography. So yeah, this one's fine. It's left, like so. It's a little bit better. I just think that like when you do that, that looks a little bit better, but we'll make that container. So we'll do something like, when does it look like crap? Probably say maybe about large. So what we can do is we can just resize that. So we can do LG equals, and then let's make that 7. So it's like that. It might even be medium. So I want to make it look too small. No, sorry, extra large. Like that. It's not too bad. Then we can have, so I'll copy this for each item. So definitely know how the grid works. I'm happy with all this. And then, well, actually, sorry, it doesn't need to be for the heading. I can stay on 12, centered. But we definitely want the aligned left. I just want to have a look and see what this looks like. This heading looks like aligned to the left. It definitely needs some padding. No, because that's going to look like, that's going to look terrible on mobile. I can play around with this. So let's add this line left for that as well, like so. And then we have that. Cool. I think a photo would look nice, but I can have a look at that later. I'm just going to give this some padding on the bottom. Yeah, give both of them a bit of padding on the bottom. That's a paragraph. So the paragraph, let's do padding bottom. And so let's set that equal to theme spacing and give that a value of, let's say 5. Close that off and spell theme properly. A little bit more, let's take it to 10. It's not too bad. I'm thinking it would look better if like it was like about and then like paragraph or something like that, and then like a diagonal divider, and then like a picture of myself, and then how I started underneath that. Not super crazy with like CSS and how to make that happen, but it's something I can look at anyway. So yeah, look, that's uh, that's our about page. Let's have a look and see how this code looks. So we've got our heading, we've got our paragraph items. So headings there, paragraph item, which we've got our spacing for each container. The paragraph item doesn't have a font, so let's get rid of that. Let's close this off here. So, yep, so that's all good. Then we have about contents. We're declaring our classes there. Got this in a div. Let's clean this up a bit. I'll have to have a look and see how people handle text, because usually I only code in previously I've never actually made like a real website, well, not one with like text and all the rest of it. Usually it just has like bits and pieces, um, like just buttons, that sort of stuff, text field, not actually like text like a blog or anything like that. So it'd be interesting to find out how there's probably a way to, someone's already figured out a way to sort of format this stuff by itself instead of, having to do what I'm doing here. So I'm gonna add that to my research list. That's fine. How do super pro coders format blog style text? When coding coding from scratch. So that's that. How about we do some commits, because we're sort of gone crazy here and did it all without doing doing what it was meant to be, what we're meant to do. So let's get rid of that. So let's do get add. Before we add it, let's just finish having a look. So we've got formatting here. Let's look at this. Oops. Like so. Awesome. Bring our grid up. Bring our div up. Cool. Happy with that. How about, yep, we're all using that. Hero head, we're using that. That's fine. That's fine. Star, return, container spacing. We want that to take up 12. We have the variance of H1. The component is H1. We want to align it to the center. We gave it the class name. About grid. We gave it our own grid item. We're aligning that to the center. Yes, center. Should we have to do that? Let's take it out. Look. Yeah. So let's change that back. Cool. So yeah, we got it in there. We're aligning it to the center. And there's the end of our grid container. Yeah, cool. Happy with that. So get add dash all git commit dash m for message. And what's our message? So we created an about page, create an about page, and create an about page, and we created an about content component. And placed it, or imported it into our about page. Cool. Happy with that. And then git push. Cool. So that's all pushed. What do we got? 1 o'clock. All right, so that's that. We've got our about page. You know, the styling's good enough right now. Let's just make sure our router's working. Oh, we added the route in. I forget the command to change that thing. I'll have to have a look at that as well. To change the message that was sent. Look to see what is the command to change the message on the last commit. So that's that. Let's tick that off our list like so. And we want to add Google Analytics to the site, the main event. So let's have a look at Mohammed's guide. So we already know what we can do with Google Analytics. We already know that. So we need to create an account. So head over to Google Analytics. It's just going to go to a different one. Don't want this one. Actually, yeah, let's add it to this account. So we need to go to settings, admin. We don't want to add, we want to create a new property. And this will be actually the web developer. And the reporting time zone will be Australia. And this will be Sydney. Currency is AUD. Oops. Yep, happy with that. Small. Yes, create. Wait for that. The next stream will be web, and the site will be actually the web developer.com.au. I was having thoughts about this morning whether this was a good name because the problem I want to help solve is basically help businesses automate or streamline their mind-numbing processes, basically the stuff that they can just get a machine to do. So the web developer but then I was thinking further into it, and like web developer, you think of all websites and all the rest of it, but the way I think about, well, the way I sort of said no, it's fine, because it's like web developer, you want to create like a user interface, you know what I mean? Like if you've got the developer, for me that's just like writing code and then interacting with the command, like a terminal. Business owners are going to do that. You need to make it easy to use, so yeah, anyway, that's where I left off with that. So Ashley, the web developer.com.au, yeah, my site, enhance, yes, that's fine. Create stream. We want to get our measurement ID. I'll actually just leave that there for a sec. We'll see how we're actually going to implement this. So we created our property, we've got our ID. So we need to install React.js. So let's do, where are we? Yep. npm install React-ga. GA. I'm not sure actually what the S flag stands for. Let's have a look. What is in npm? What is the flag in npm? What is the S flag in npm? Okay. Why didn't that show on the other one? Just completion. If somebody arrived here, so searching for S flag, lowercase s. For this full session, lowercase s, short carve is silent. S option is the save option in npm. It adds npm package to your dependencies for your project. It's the same as data save. Doesn't that do it automatically? Anyway, so let's do dash save, because we definitely want to, oops, that, dash s. Cool. So we'll bring that module in, or dependency, whatever module. Pretty sure it's module. Package. There we go. Just bring that in. I'm just going to do a quick npm auto fix. I think I did this before. I'll do it, but I have to manually look into it. So bring that in. So we need to set up analytics inside the project. So set up analytics inside your project. You should do it inside your app.js or index.js from React documentation. It must be, let's close this window. So it must be initialized using this function before any other tracking functions that record any data. So add the following code to your apps.js file, which we'll do it in our index.js file. Cool. All right, so just bring this code in, I guess, into, where is it? Index.js. So we'll replace, or insert our tracking ID, which I think is a Google Analytics 4 GID. initialize the tracking ID. So what? So you got to hurry up. So what do we got? So let's quick and tracking ID, and put that in. Record custom events. We don't want to do that. We want to integrate it with because we want to allow. I'll have to have a look at this, but I want Google Analytics to handle all the events. So integration with React Router. So most of the time we want to know which pages. Yeah, of course. There's workaround, which is so we can create React change component to listen to changes in the route and send the data to Google Analytics. So I don't know if we have to actually add this to each individual page, or we can add it into yeah, I don't know. I think that we can do that because it re-renders the component, but does it re-render the index, or does it re-render the individual page itself? We're going to find out in a second. So unfortunately, I'm going to have a look at this by myself in my own time, just research the exact way that all this works and that. So I'm going to quickly plow through this. We're going to add a global component, and we're going to call it route change tracker, JS. We're going to import this stuff in here. Like so, export default with routes, create GA, like so. Yep. We're going to save this. We're going to head back over to our index.js. We're going to bring this bad boy in. So import routes change tracker from slash components. Oops. Search components / global / change router. Close that off. So yeah, that's that, and then we'll bring it in. We need to spell route properly. Tracker, self-closing. Save that. Yep, save that. Save that. And if we go error, you should not use with routes outside of router. Cool. This is the router. So look at this. Let's go to the home page. And let's have a look if any real-time data is coming in. Let's reload this page. We can see that it's making a call. It's 200 to the remote access. Cool, so let's calling it. Can we see it? Sometimes it takes a little bit for it to kick on. Let's try. That should be fine like that. It really should be, but again, I don't know exactly how it works, so can't say for sure that it is going to be it. Let's go to the home page. It's definitely triggering it. Portfolio. Oh, that did a lot then. That's not meant to do that. Yeah, that's hitting all of it. Yeah, it's each one because it's hitting it for every single one of those routes. So perhaps maybe we might be able to do it for each individual route. So something like, so not have a self-closing one and do something like this. And then put the route change within inside that. I'm not sure if this is going to work. Like so. And I might have to copy this. All of these. Just for a couple so I can see if it does actually work the way I think that it's going to. Reload this. Go to the home page. So we only got one then. We did log in. So that will be a count. No, it's hitting all of them at the same time. I think it's going to have to be in its own individual component, in each individual component. Getting any data in yet? Nope, not yet. So I'm just going to quickly change all this back. So let's bring this up here. And let's import all this into the home page. Home page. I think that this might work, which I don't think actually, because we want to do it in the render. Like so. Yep, cool. And this was for the home page. So it's not doing that anymore, which is what's going on. Flow site index expected corresponding closing tag. I stuffed up in this. Router, footer, switch, right there. Cool. Look this back up. Module cannot resolve components global change checker in because it's the wrong import. So we just want to do I think double that. Let's just get rid of this, make sure. Double global change route. Let's give that a go. Cool. So I just had a look. So this analytics, let's have another quick look at this index. All right, so it's always going to initialize the analytics connection there. So that's fine, which is that one there. But we want this one, which it didn't do it. Or did it? No, because it would have made a call. So you just did it then. And then just did it then again. Oh, so it's compounding. Every time I do a change, it's doing 3 of the same one again. 4. And it did 5. I'm still not getting any of this, but I think that's because it's coming from localhost and not the domain. And the way that I can test that is I'll just come over on a different screen and I will, well, first I need to push it to GitHub. So we'll just do git add -or git commit -m added Google Analytics to the site. But it's broken for now. Imagine getting that in a production build. Committing this, but it's broken. Push. Send that to GitHub. So this site is connected. This site is deployed on DigitalOcean's apps platform. I do have another site which is deployed on its own server, but is hosted on a subdomain of the ashleythewebdeveloper.com. And yeah, it's connected and all the rest of it. So basically what I just did then was I sent the new code to GitHub, and then the apps platform can then read that repository and then builds the app based on the contents of that repository. So I can actually see it. So yeah, obviously, so it updates. But I think what's happening is because Google Analytics, I believe, does so the request for Google Analytics, which is this one here, needs to come from our actual domain, not localhost. So we'll find out in a second. It's pending for some reason. I'm just going to change this. Building now. We're at 17%. Just have to download those modules onto the server. Give it a sec. Slowly getting there. So yeah, so I think that's what's happening. I don't know why it's doing the multiple. Well, I assume it's got to do with obviously this. So the history So it's using the history hook. History listen to location action. I'm not sure why it's not using action. It's never used. So set that to set the location dot path name as the page, and the page view is location dot path name. Where's this thing? So when you create a component to listen to the changes in the route and send the data back to Google Analytics, don't forget to add the component, so app.js. Now you're all set. You should see how users interact with the application. Yeah, I'm gonna have to have a look at this. Just have a look at the whole thing with the history and all the rest of it, because I'm going to assume the history has like a thing of like blast history or something like that. Well, let's have a look right now while we're waiting for this to build. So how to get the current page using the history book React. Use history, React history API. The first one here. Use history from React DOM. That history equals use history. Show. Use history hook gives you access to the history instance that you may use to navigate. The use location hook returns the location object that represents the current URL, which is what we want. You can think about it like use state, returns a new location whenever you. That makes sense. So, which we're doing there, locations path name. Why is it calling it multiple times if we've taken it out of the index.js? It's fine to initialize it, that's fine. The fact that it's executing it, like it's compounding, like each request is making a subsequential, another request, a subsequential request. Yeah, I'm not sure what's doing that. Because like it's going to a different component, or is it because no? Yeah, it's going to a different component each time. So let's have a look. So when using history hook in React, no, when using location, is it? Yeah. History hook in React, it's turning, no, it's I sort of know what it needs to do. Like you want to like check the list and then get the last element in the list or object if it is. Well, that's sort of based on what I'm looking at now. Sort of think it would need to happen. But when using location history hook in React, it's returning all of the history and not the current URL. Direct links, the article, the hooks, React, Router, strings. When using component syntax, prompts, Router, went to the previous page, and that's you can save the previous file, think components. Correct. React components. Right. Yeah, I need to brush up on state. I think I'm just gonna have to look up history. I'm gonna have to read up on this. I sort of understand what's happening, but I'm not 100%. History like listen, so you assume that it's going to listen on the history of history changes. And then we have an anonymous function that takes in the takes in location and action. We don't need the action, we definitely need the location. Then that is called, so React.js just set, so setting the page and location is the path name. And the page view is location path name. Return that. But why is it returning all of them if we're only getting the location path name? All path names. History. Or history hook. Returning all path names. All previous. Instead of current location. Use location. Still at 17% for the build. It should be possible to see where the app is now, where you want to go, even where it was. In my app, I need to see where it was. it turns out the best way for me to see what the application has been is to simply use the state property in the React Router link. So I could link. You could check this example, hope it helps. I'm just gonna have to look up history. History, testing, yes, history. So it's deployed now. So if we head over to the website, need to fix that as well. It's 12, reload. We can see that analytics is there. Why is that not being responsive? So just did it then. Just got 2 hits. Yeah, it's doubling up now. Anyway, it's sending the data to Google Analytics. Let's see if it's actually getting it. So we're still not receiving any events. Do we have a debug? I'm not actually sure how to work this bad boy out. Let's have a look at the settings. Let's go to data streams. Let's copy this again. This is all fine. That's fine. Let's just make sure this analytics code is good. Where is it? Index. Yeah, that's fine. As I said, it does take a little bit to actually spin up, or I've had instances where it's had a little bit to actually get the data coming in. But it's definitely sending the data, that's for sure. It's definitely sending the data. Equals view. And it's sending what page it's on. It's just doing it way too many times. That's all right. Let's see if anything's come through yet. Not yet. Yeah, because every time you do that, it's like compounding like crazy. Anyway, so look, we partially got there. I'm gonna have to try and debug this in my own time. So we're not sitting here trying to debug this here. So I'm going to give this one a dash because it's partially done. But we've got a couple of bugs we still need to fix, which I'll do at a later stage. That way I can just sort of make a video out of all of them, but I still need to research some of them. And I've got a little bit of research to do here. So obviously the bug we've got Google is sending multiple requests and research how to use the history hook. Cool. So look, that's it for this video. I'll go and have a look at all of this, try and hopefully get some data coming through here. And yeah, we'll pick up where we left off. But cool. Awesome. Happy coding, and I'll catch you